Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
It's a bird! It's a plane! No, it's just the most divisive thing you're going to find on the internet today, because when it comes to some people, this new Superman movie is sort of like kryptonite. It's slowly killing their will to live. And keep in mind, this is a movie about a guy who wears red underwear and saves the day. So now, here's what I liked and didn't like about the brand new Superman trailer. He's not a man, he's an it. One of the most brilliant things that this trailer does to humanize Superman is it opens up with a mock interview between him and Lois Lane. And I like when he's answering her questions, he starts talking like Superman. I like little details like that. And another thing that this very short scene does is it truly encapsulates Superman's frustration. He wants to save the day, he wants to do the right thing, but there's so much political red tape. Before you can actually save the day, you have to ask permission from 75 people before you do anything. And in all fairness, isn't that the reality that we live in? If there was a real life Superman and he actually went out there and saved the day, somebody somewhere is going to get offended because he did that. And I think that's an interesting plot to include in this film. Another thing that I noticed right after this sequence was we sort of have a Batman v Superman plot line going on revolving around Superman and the political climate that he's stuck in and the government. He has to answer to somebody. And let's keep it real. Does he really need to answer to anyone? I know in the movie he's going to, but if I was Superman, I'd be like, hey, check out my red underwear. Do you like what you see? Yeah, I'm a god. I have godlike powers. I can fly. I'm not going to listen to some dude in a suit and tie. Nah, see ya. And then we see Frank Grillo, who plays Rick Flag Sr., and he is the Secretary of Defense in this movie, I believe, and he's in charge of all the regulated superheroes in this universe, and of course Superman is unregulated, so at some point he's going to have all of his regulated superheroes go up against Superman to try to stop him, and then maybe by the end of the movie they see eye to eye with each other, then they hug, and I don't know what they're going to do by the end of the movie. I just have a feeling that they'll understand each other by the end of the film. Speaking of superheroes, let's talk about one of the supervillains in the film, or at least I'm assuming it's a supervillain. That's the Hammer of Bovia. You guys know I don't know how to read, and this is an original character, and it sort of reminds me of the Juggernaut if the Juggernaut could fly and was gold. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this character. My safe assumption would be that this was a robot created by Lex Luthor, or heck, maybe it is Lex Luthor in this robot suit, which might take the place of Lex Luthor's mechanical mech suit that you see in the comics and animated series. And I've been waiting to see a mech version of Lex Luthor for a very long time, but if we don't get that in some kind of variation, I will be slightly disappointed, because it's just like, you're Lex Luthor, why do you not have a robot suit? If I was a billionaire, I would have a robot suit. Another thing that this trailer shows us a lot of is the Fortress of Solitude, and it's being taken over by Lex Luthor and his goons. I don't know what the lady's name was with the circular saw hands. I don't even care to look it up. And I'm curious to see the outcome of that. It looks like Krypto is going to help Superman escape. And I've said this once, I'm going to say it again. I don't want this to happen, because the number one rule you should not do in a movie, unless it's John Wick, is kill the dog. I want Krypto to live forever, and I'm hoping he bites someone's jugular and saves the day in this scene. But yeah, so the Fortress of Solitude looks like it's going to be taken over by Lex Luthor. Some of my favorite scenes in this trailer aren't the big bombastic action scenes where Superman's flying around or fighting robots. It's the more humanized version of Superman. I like when they show clips of him hanging out in his room with Krypto on his stomach. I like when they show clips of him and his father and his mom, and she's like, you want me to go clean off your boots? And my biggest question is, who are the Mighty Crabjoys, and why do I want to listen to this fictional band so bad? I was watching an interview the other day from James Gunn, and he was talking about he wanted the Kent home to look like the trailers in Missouri where he grew up. It's a bit different from what we're used to with the farmhouse. It looks like a double wide trailer in the middle of nowhere. And I grew up in a town just like that, so in a weird way, I sort of relate to it. So yeah, when it comes to this trailer, I like that they're sort of balancing the humanity of Superman with the over-the-top action sequences. Now, unless you're blind as a bat, there's a quick glimpse of some kryptonite in one of these scenes where it looks like Superman's being kept in this glass cubicle prison cell. And I feel like we saw the clip where he actually escapes that by punching out of it, so I sort of feel like I know the outcome of this sequence. Now let's talk about the main villain of this film, Lex Luthor, played by Nicholas Hoult. And his motivation is sort of set up in this trailer. He doesn't like Superman because the entire world is talking about this alien. And he doesn't even view Superman as a man. He's an it. He's super it. Which doesn't have the same ring to it. And I sort of like that they're setting up Lex Luthor to be this billionaire who's almost, in a sense, racist against the alien heritage that Superman has. And then we get a quick shot of Hawk Girl, who I know nothing about that character. I could use Wikipedia right now and come across like I'm an expert, but I'm going to keep it real with you. I know nothing about the character, so whatever she does, I will just see it up on the big screen when I go to see this movie in the theater. And then we get Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern, and then we also get Mr. Terrific, who I don't know much about as a character. So I'm not quite sure if they're a regulated team in this, or they're the new Justice League, or what have you, but I'm sure they're going to help Superman out at some point. Then at one point in the trailer, we see what looks like a portal, and keep in mind, this is going to be a multiverse at some point, so the portal does make sense. But most importantly, I don't want this just to be about setting up an entire multiverse and introducing 75 different characters where it gets bogged down and a bit bloated, and they try to jumpstart this universe too quick, too soon. I do want the backbone of this film to be about Superman, doing Superman stuff and coming to terms with who he is. And I don't mind the other things along the way, because I think if you have a 2-hour movie just about Clark Kent as Superman, yeah, sometimes less is more, as long as you get the point across throughout the film and you build that character. I don't mind a whole bunch of other stuff happening around him. Now, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago to close your eyes and envision what you want the new upcoming Superman movie to look like, I don't know if it would have looked like James Gunn's adaptation of Superman, but the more I see of this movie, especially with this new trailer, it does look like a straight-up comic book movie. And keep in mind, it is. Is it exactly what I want? Do I want it to look a little more Nolan-esque, a little more filmic? Does it look a little digital and very bright and colorful? Yeah, it does. And I feel like one day when this movie hits 4K, not streaming, 4K, because physical media will always have superior picture quality and superior audio quality, I feel like this is the type of movie that will look awesome on my OLED TV on a rainy day when I eat some popcorn. So I think it'll be a fun visual experience when you finally watch it in the theater. And I'll keep it real with you. I've read the complaints on the internet, and I've had many of my own towards this movie. A lot of people say this movie looks cheap and the visual effects look pretty shitty. And I could almost see where they're coming from at times. But here's my take on it. The more footage I see of this movie, the more I'm sort of liking the visual style. And I think some shots in the trailer look pretty kick-ass. Now, here are my final flicking thoughts on the Superman trailer. That's my shitty Superman impression. As far as this trailer goes, it looks like a Superman movie. It looks like a comic book movie. And it looks good enough to go check out in the theater. That's how I feel about it. And keep in mind, I'm one of those dudes who truly appreciate Man of Steel. I truly think that movie's underrated. And when that came out 12 years ago, was it 12 years ago? 13 years ago? 14 years ago? I don't know. It came out a long time ago. I gave that movie like an A-. I really enjoyed it. But I'm okay with a tonally different adaptation of Superman at this point. So with all that said, guys, leave your thoughts, your opinions down below. What did you think about the brand new Superman trailer? Are you excited to see the movie? What did you like and what did you dislike about it? Before I go, make sure you subscribe. That way I can see you next time. And if you've already done that, well, here's some new videos that maybe you haven't seen. And if there's no videos down there, I'm just pointing at my dick right now. Okay, take care. See you guys next time.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.